Well, good morning as we're sitting here at LTV on this beautiful morning, Friday morning, August 16th, year 2024, here with the Hello Hello Show. And my name is Haim Mizrahi, continuing with the public access that includes the Hello Hello Show that's been on the air since 1980. And then, of course, just the concept of public access here at the east end of Long Island. Of course, not to fail to mention the contribution by Fraser Dougherty, Francis Ann, and of course the likes of you out there to make it your business to enhance and fortify this concept called public access. And we're pushing along with the concept, alongside the concept, before and after the concept, and uh, very tightly united together as we adapt this concept as a way of living, a way of life, a way of common thought. And hoping that by this level of kind of stubbornness slash consistency, it will yield the results of uh, long lasting sturdiness, stability, balance, and focus, and all these things that will come in one package once you find yourself engaged into the concept that yields to the public. And then of course I'm just fixing myself to be I don't know what I'm doing. I was always kind of amused by the fact that I'm trying to look good on TV. I used to worry about many things, which I don't any longer, which is a good feeling. So tomorrow, the 17th, Saturday, we're going to have the opening with the wonderful duo Victor Kerpel and Fanny Olin. That's 47 today, and also it's going to be on display through September 9th here at LTV Corridors. So you definitely, by all means, all welcome to come and check things out. And while you're doing it, checking the art, you can also look into the further into the concept of public access that happens to be that which is available to the public. Period. No discussions, no doubts, no pauses, and finding out things that maybe eventually down the road will benefit our community on the behalf of whatever action you can take out there, which you already do, and which we already acknowledging and enjoying the fact of knowing that and being a part of a community where people make it their business to engage. So I thought about, and I can't help myself but thinking, it's kind of driving back and forth and all this on the way to the station this morning. I was trying to uh, see if there is a way. You know what? I'm going to close this door. And I was thinking, is there a way that I can, in the most remote possibility, reinvent myself? But reinventing in the sense of maybe changing a topic, maybe starting differently every monologue or every monologue that leads to a dialogue. Um, because I always talk about art, talk about how the engagement with art directly, especially painting, even though any medium will do and it will earn you the right to call yourself an artist. Um, and that the fact that any engagement on the behalf of that concept, art, i.e., whatever creative medium, uh, can only lead you to goodness, can only lead you to balance and enhancement uh, and vital contribution to the demeanor of the situation. If we were to at all consider that maybe the situation itself has a mind of its own, the things, so we're giving it all the reasons to feel good about itself and to feel comfortable once it introduces itself into our reality. That's kind of very light graded head games that I highly recommend for people to be able to implement and put in place uh, while you are getting over that shock of, oh my God, this canvas, I never thought it's so big and it's so white. Oh, and what's in my mind? What's in here that's going to come out and causes me to do this and that? And what's in the mind of that which I just created? First layer, 30th layer, 60th layers, um, all uh, in the name of that reality finds excuses right and left to repeat its level of vigilance, uh, and just kind of being able to size where you are, to put a finger on sending forth placement and location, and because if you really are in sync with your location, you have within that understanding of that concept all the material you need as a drummer, as a pianist, as a poet, as an author, as a painter, as a sculptor, as any form that you want to put one and one and shape and color and color, and here you go, you got the last word. Um, but because I happen to be a hands-on individual, so when I start speaking of art and when I start getting deep into it, so to speak, and I know deep within me that I don't have to worry too much about it because it's going to yield positive results and introduction of a possibility of enhancement of power and muscles and durability, withstandingness. I love this word that I just invented. Withstandingness, withstandingness, withstandingness. And maybe it's a good time for me to read the poem that I'm supposed to read tomorrow. And and light and let's see. Mm, yeah. So this is about really just because I was trying to think about light and color, and in order to find myself getting out of it, of that attraction towards that which is gonna um, uh, what's the word that I want to use? A clichéness, or I don't know, whatever, if that's a word at all. Trying to kind of limit my encounters with that which is cliche, even though at the end of the day, if you know how to use it, it will work for you. You can put it to work for you. You can always add a meaning to, to, yes. Okay, so this, I just want you to indulge me and see if I can make it happen. Maybe for that, I'll put this on. Yeah, yeah. Is that it? No. Yes. Is it here? Okay. Yeah. One. Yeah. So the title is Reflections in Color and Light. Light and color trip up the moon of light. Colors reflecting over shadows that never existed. A brief journey across the light at shifting speeds. The ground of pure color reflects with ease. Leftover mixes of wonder, lame fixture of lust for anchoring in vibrant hues, structure and density. You asked me once, at the tip of a movement. Where is the before to turn, the swirl to blast the hidden wish to pieces, yet not shattered into the salvaged steadiness known for its promise to deliver a splash of love, rendering pleasure so close to the needy, wherever it is. Unity, souls mate in the dance of color and light, in the embrace of structure and density, reflecting, refracting, together they create the art of existence. Rooting light and color. Now it's time to root the long driven ray of light, single handedly craving a see through penetration. It changes direction and velocity as color highlights recollections of years past, reshuffling logic. What do we seek through the haste of a breaking dawn? I've already rubbed my shoulders against the crowdedness of sweet morning encounters, allowing color to shower the light. Unity will spell the timing to ease into graceness. Conclusion. And in this symphony of light and hue, we find ourselves anew, bound by the beauty of our journey's view, a testament to what light and color can do. That's actually, and I bet you if I move, yes, if I remove these headphones, my reading will change completely. I don't know why I was thinking about it. Because this is in place. Yes, it's in place. And reflections in color and light. Light and color. Trip up the moon of light. Trip up the moon of light. Trip up the moon of light. Colors reflecting over shadows that never existed. A brief journey across the light at shifting speed. The ground of pure color reflects with ease. Leftover mixes of wonder, lame fixtures, lame fixtures of lust for anchoring in vibrant hues, structure and density. You asked me once, at the tip of the movement, at the tip of a movement, where is the before to turn, the thrill to blast the hidden wish to pieces, yet not shudder into the salvaged steadiness, known for its promise to deliver a splash of love, rendering pleasure so close to the needy. Wherever it is, unity, souls mate, in the dance of color and light, in the embrace of structure and density, reflecting, refracting together, they create the art of existence. Rooting light and color. Now it's time to root the long during ray of light, single-handedly craving a see-through penetration. It changes direction and velocity as color highlights recollections of years past, reshuffling logic. What do we seek through the haze of a breaking dawn? I've already rubbed my shoulders against the crowdedness of sweet morning encounters, allowing color to shower the light. Unity will spell the timing to ease into greatness. Conclusion. And in this symphony of light and hue, we find ourselves anew, bound by the beauty of journey's view, a testament to what light and color can do. Actually, that's a great way to try and you read it like a rushed speech, like speaking, like speed of speaking, rhythm of speaking. When you chat, when you encounter, when you interact, and allow you disadvantage in a particular language, especially if it's not your mother tongue, to somehow bring it to the stage, to a certain stage that uses a certain light, and have that kind of somewhat of a control over what the end result, or that what the state of readiness spell. What does it really mean? So yeah, and then read it like the way that I really cannot really, even though it's my poem. But it's say, to read it like, reflections in color of light, and light and color, and trip up the moon of light, and colors reflecting over shadows that never existed. A brief journey across the light at shifting speeds. The ground of you of this is Alan Plants. It reminds me of him. But the ground of pure color reflects with ease leftover mixes of wonder, lame fixtures of lust for anchoring in vibrant hues, structure, and density, as you asked, at the tip of the movement, where you find yourself before turning, swirling the hidden wish to pieces. Oh my God. Uh, yes. Not yet shattered into the salvaged sturdiness, known for its promise to deliver a splash of love. It renders with pleasure so close to the needy, wherever it is. Unity, soul's mate, in a dance of color and light, in the embrace of structure and density, reflecting, refracting, together they create the art of existence. Rooting light and color, rooting. Now it's time to root the long driven ray of light deep into planet Earth, single-handedly craving a see-through penetration, direction and velocity. It changes direction and velocity suddenly, so that's a good term. A color highlights recollections of years past, reshuffling logic. I love that you keep yourself available to be able to reshuffle logic. And what is it that we seek? Through the haste of a breaking dawn, I've already rubbed my shoulders against the crowdedness of sweet morning encounters. And that actually spells royalty. Allowing color to shower the light. Color to shower the light. I mean, when you write something like that, suddenly you realize if you're a painter, your next canvas would be your next painting will be that with color you're going to shower the light. Unity will spell timing to ease into graceness. I mean, because sometimes it's almost like take someone who never been to a yoga class and throw him into the midst of the room with a mat and say, "Okay, see you in an hour." So it's going to spell some confusion there, awkwardness, but yet always promising a constructive, encouraging angle. And not only angle, but actually a reality too that's been lived and things of this nature. And then you're going to the conclusion, but actually this was supposed to be the beginning. It's just that you don't know until you write the ending, and then you realize it. You can do whatever you want, and then you realize that you could have done anything you wanted and probably did everything you wanted all along. So that's a so now it's music in the symphony of light and hue. We find ourselves anew, bound by the beauty of our journey's view, a testament to what light and color can do. So you allow cliché-ness into something that has to be completely purish, clean cut, and something in that which is something that you cannot deliver. I mean, I know my limitations. Yeah, I can try very hard to write the way that I think I should in a certain time, a certain place, and it doesn't always work. But at least if I do try, I know what my odds are because I want to keep myself free from semi traumas, uh, uncalled for dramas, and things of this nature that I can spare myself from. So I'm going to pay my debt to society, but I'm not going to go out of my way to pay more than I should. Even though at the end of the day, when you're going to show your paintings and exhibit and share, you realize that that's your way of paying back. That's the way of doing a little bit over what is expected of you, which is a good feeling to have. So, so you want to tell someone that you care for because there was a willingness on behalf of this someone uh, to approach you and to and to find out if you're interested to join the effort. And by doing so, you will be granted access to maybe things and places and concepts and whatever that you weren't able to before. So a good deal, don't you think? A good feeling also. So uh, you don't even coherently show. You just like it's who you are. So it's a translation of who you are actually, and therefore it speaks this piece. It shows this concept. It brings that to light, and from there, it's going to be a lovely journey. Powerful but lovely. And then in the I don't know if it's is that the and then this is the rawness of it. Um, this is about self-discovery and and transcendence and getting into the elusive nature of understanding oneself and the world around you, and the imagery of still seeking those precious moment of being able to play as a child because you're always amused by the fact that your dog chases his tail, and then you realize you can actually imagine that and bring it to a point where you can, in a weird way, benefit from it. So that's what's called the imagery of chasing tails, reflections, and a metaphor of water suggests that the journey is both internal and deeply connected to broader human experiences. That's a good place to be when you um, and then if you have a phrase that speaks about the demeanor, the demeanor standing quietly behind the shadow of the mood. You bought your world in a second. You wrote something and it was a part of something bigger, and now it's small because it's got to be smaller than that feeling small kind of in the moment of revelation because you're so afraid it's going to slip and go and evaporate and fade away and suddenly nowhere to be found, kind of thing. You really want to go through the process while you have all the ingredients in order to allow you to go to the next stage, because breaking through is actually that you need first to jump into that field of what it really implies, that breakthrough, and you operate from the revelation that you're about to document and to adapt to, but you're already in it, and you're conducting the the uh, the switch, the implementation from within the future already, so to speak. So that's a great place to be, and that's only just by images. Forget about um, and so there's shapes, there are perceptions. It's all and actions, of course. Um, and then there's the juxtaposition, uh, the trailing ignites a tail chase, and all of that is really. something that you know that down the road really not. I don't want to stand here and say that it's going to work for you. It's going to come to a point that you would realize that because you have it, because you kept it, because you sheltered it, now it works for you. Now it's going to do this to you, that to you. We're not even going there. It's just you're so already busy with things that matter to you, at least that are meaningful by nature, and that you accept it as such because you know something about human nature. So when you introduce some kind of goodness, it usually lasts. It lasts. And that's also a good thing. And it's also a good thing to know it, that it lasts. And then it says, they created tension between the pursuit of understanding and the chaotic, that which is chaos, spells chaos. So, the and and it's anybody there? Hello? Hello? Well, I thought I heard someone here. But anyway, uh, and then reasoning is being tossed out the window. Like literally. If you want to imagine it, literally being thrown out the window. Reasoning. But then you wonder, how come your best, most efficient tool is being tossed out the window? Reasoning must be replaced by something just equally um, and that really, actually, when you toss it out the window, it creates the tension uh, between the pursuit of understanding and the chaotic. Sometimes, sometimes irrational aspects of that pursuit. So now you're becoming very meticulous because you're saying, "My God, this is what I wrote that happens to be under discussion here." So and then again, it changes its equation, and it therefore changes its places in the world that it's created, and in the world that surrounds it that he didn't create. That it's just there, and there's a level of awareness that runs through everything. So there's nothing will go by or that won't be attended with deep thought, even if it's just temporary or instant or things like that. So the conclusion that you and I we already changed the world. This conclusion is particularly striking because it speaks to a shared transformation, and that's always a good feeling because it spells power. It spells unity, strength in numbers, kind of thing, um, and the emergence of new expression that happens to be uniquely yours. And in this case, if it's you and I, then it's ours. But there's something very appealing in that moment, and that is the moment of weakness that you're glad to have and glad to go for it because you kind of feel safe and you feel you're allowed. This is the time where you just, eat more chocolate than you need to, or stuff like that. And is uniquely yours. The idea of shaping the greatness to the idea of shaping to greatness is um, just trying to make sense in my the idea of adapting to greatness. That's what I wanted to say. The idea of adapting to greatness, being something solely ours. And, it feels empowering. You must agree with me. If you can hold on to it, it's even better, emphasizing the importance of the personal and the collective growth Is that something to indulge and to be happy about and to adapt and to enjoy and to acknowledge? And it's always there. Once it's yours, it's yours. It's like you don't wake up one morning and it's not there. It doesn't happen. It's there. So overall, it captures that which is complex. Complexity is not a bad place and time or scenario to be in or to have within. Not bad at all. And uh, in the introspection of the journey, if you add to it the sense of mystery and empowerment, it invites you to reflect. And that's something we really need. We really need to be invited to reflect, even though we can be those who reflect all the time, regardless. But that level of being, have a comrade, someone, camaraderie, if it's a word at all, you know, it invites you to reflect. And then you go into your inner, what do I want to say, experience, and that which you have to share, because you're cut out for that, for that, and that includes generosity in this case. So you happen to be one that is um, so it's transformation and it's human connection. That's what I wanted to say. Really, that's the way to put it. And then you want to say, okay, I will go back to the roughness of the early moment of that description, feeling, some kind of up in the air uh, finalization of something that doesn't need to be called any name, but it's still being described anyway. So best way to start it, I mean, when you go and revisit that which is completely raw, because it's ancient but young in years, but it's ancient but it's young in years. It's like crispy yet smooth skin, like baby tone, whatever. So you introduce yourself to that particular opening, any opening that is with long sentences, with a long sentence. And I mean, really a long sentence. And it would be something like, lastly, to imagine an inner journey only for the sake of a revelation of a demeanor standing quietly behind the shadow of the mood. This was a sentence. But I have to do it with one breath. Otherwise, it just doesn't. So let me see if I can try. Lastly, to imagine an inner journey only for the sake of a revelation of a demeanor standing quietly behind the shadow of the mood. Of course, the one belonging to the human race, as trailing ignites a tail chase, game reasoning is being tossed out the window, and with the clumsy body of sloppy body gestures. If you wander beyond your ability to fathom reflections telling short versions of your life story, then the quick fix scenarios show up on the surface of the water, dreaming in an intimate fashion to bring you closer to the ability to store, guard, and treasure your unique understanding of and elusive discoveries. You and I, we already changed the world. We are the profile of that new expression, ours, as it entails an extreme ability to adapt to greatness that happens to be solely ours. So, if I was to be able to recite this poem with one breath, I would have done it. And I think that's the only way to read it. So you're going into lastly, to imagine an inner journey only for the sake of a relation of demeanor standing quietly behind the shadow of the moon. of course, the one belonging to the human race, Australian ignites the tail game reasoning is being tossed out the window. I made half of it. And with it, the clumsy body with sloppy body gestures. If you wander beyond your ability to fathom reflections, telling short versions of your life story, then the quick fix scenarios show up on the surface of the water, dreaming in intimate fashion to bring you closer to the ability to store, guard, and treasure a unique understanding of an elusive discoveries. You and I, we already changed the world. We are a profile of that new expression, ours, in the as it entails extreme ability to adapt to greatness that happens to be solely ours. I had to take my breath twice. But it reminds me of Alan Plants, that happened to be my mentor and friend for quite some years. Alan Plants was a dear soul, passed away about, I don't know, some years ago. I had the privilege to sit with him and to write and to read and to whatever and to share. And he was always humble, always willing to take this blil of that's my word for just everything together, of everything, and make sense of it. And so it's nice to remember. Um, and he would say, you go up, you go up the stage to read, and without saying this is the most important thing, but I would say that's how I understood it. And the most important thing is that you're going to recite the poem so I can hear you, and that means you got to be loud enough. If you want to call it powerful, whatever, but it's got to be the word. And he would go up and he'd say, I want to be able to hear you. If I can hear you, I'm bound to like and appreciate your writing, first and foremost. So really, when I went there, I never thought about it in my life. That this is what I worried about the poem, the contents of the poem, my usage of the language, my level of decency. That is it acceptable or not? Is it enough to deliver, or is it the sum of what it takes to be a partner, to be a part of it? So, but I never thought about, okay, I'm going to stand there, I'm going to be present, and I'm going to be forceful with my voice, and I'm going to make sure that everyone can hear me. But I did, and that was a shift, a huge shift, because then when I was doing it, I for the first time I was aware of my body standing on the stage or in front of the podium, and therefore there was a relationship that was in the shape of, in the sort that I wasn't experiencing before that, even if it was existed, but it was in a different form. Suddenly I'm realizing myself physically standing in front of the podium, in front of the people, making sure coherently, like this is a job now. I wrote it already, so I need not worry about the contents and the words and the structure. I need worry about translating the intensity of this moment into that level of simplicity, so you can hear it, so therefore you can feel it, so therefore you can form a decent opinion about how you feel about it all, if it all will comes down to it. That's a great present to get, to receive from someone who cares about you and about your craft and about your talent and about your passion and desire, especially when it comes to the arts. And I had many people who told me without knowing it, they're telling me that which I, they wonder how come I do that, was their way of saying, I don't think you should do that because maybe it's not working for you. And maybe if you stop or change or replace, maybe it will be better for you. But they're not saying it. They're just saying, uh, how come, they ask the question, how come you use these certain basic colors directly from the tube? Doesn't bother you? And then, so what I hear them say, you shouldn't use direct pigment from a tube, whatever it is. We don't think, especially if someone close to you and says, listen, you can you can definitely lose this here or whatever or something. There's a discussion, there's friendship, there's or even if someone comes and gives you a, a compliment, it's maybe he's trying to tell you, I think you should do more of that or whatever, things like that. I always took what it is that the world had to offer to me by way of comments and all this and this and that extremely important, extremely important. But I'm not so sure that people know that I take it so seriously and consider it so important, which worked to my benefit because I realized that actually that is what keeping a straight face means. That's what keeping a straight face through the process entirely means, and how important it is to have that available to you and to be able to implement it every time you need. Huge advantage. People get stuck in those moments, in those stages in their lives, especially if they're creative, and they just don't know better how to get themselves out of this mess or how to not get themselves into any kind of a mess to begin with, because time is precious. Yeah. Yes, time is precious. You need time. And if you have more, then um, common sense brings you closer to being able to understand yourself and what is the composition that spells you and your effort, and then also see what is the right thing to do for you doing for yourself, and you trying to be generous with yourself, good to yourself, because it helps you be good to others. It's just that demeanor, that uplifted demeanor, feeling light, feeling thorough, feeling you know enlightened, feeling generous, feeling connected, feeling uh, useful, effective, being, you know, considerate, flexible, balanced, and then again balanced, and then again balanced, and that common sense with the logic behind it, and then you you kind of you kind of just know that you don't need to do anything. It's gonna go home. This is the wild horse or whatever. This is something that the horse will go back. It will run, 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 and somehow it will end up in the stable where it belongs. And 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 if you're the one who's chasing the animal and you don't know better, then you still think, you still work, you don't even take that into consideration. So you search, you panic, but the horse is already back in the stable. It'll take you some time to realize that indeed all along the horse was doing what is the horse supposed to do. So minute realizations and revelations that adds up, and becomes meaningful. And then you see also the direct effect and that it has, that you're actually doing it almost like every day, all the time, consistently. They really makes a difference on the surface. You can really see that level of decency in the uh, I shouldn't say outcome, into that which it has been reflected to be looked like the way it looks like, something like that. I'm just saying. Um, so, and there's a constant agreement, and when I say agreement, I think compassion, understanding, and it's not a fake sensation. It's it really is there, and it's not even it's there when you need it. It's just there. It's not like you were in trouble and then you want to go there for it in order for it to do its thing, so it will alleviate my pain and resolve my complex situation, turn it into something normal and simple. No, not at all. This is more like your presence speaks its piece, and you do nothing but nod and agree and feeling very satisfied and content. And that's a good place to be, because you know that within you, that passion boils, that passion burns, that passion is ongoing, and you're aware of it, and you never find yourself really panicking. And also you realize when you look at your journey so far that you have been through so many things already, and most of the things are the things that you now actually getting something on the behalf of that wise decision that you made a while ago, or good deeds that you performed a while ago. It just all comes together. But you're not like emotionally, spiritually, religiously involving yourself with that, and with what it means, what it mean, you know. And you, I always say I ran out of excuses to uh, to not rehearse, to not practice, to not put the extra minute or effort, whatever, for whatever reasons that are. Uh, it can range all the way from pathetic to reckless to bored to just that which doesn't make sense really, but still, nevertheless, um, there is that the the given in that acceptance makes it a part of the background, a part of that wide base that everything relies on. A surface where you can step one step after the other, and you're not afraid that every step you take is pretty hazardous, and then you can really fall and break your head, which is a scenario that's possible anyway, whether you think about it or not, whether the space is slippery or otherwise. But you still bother to mention that to the immediate source of that power that is inaccessible, that is not available, period. It's not like you are upset or disappointed that it's not available. You already know, because you have deep conviction of understanding of what makes sense and what doesn't. So this would be something that wouldn't make sense to worry about, because you already know better, and already you're benefiting from that knowledge, from that acceptance. So you find yourself more and more in that zone of I can do without. I can do without. That means that's my way of saying, I don't need it really. And really, for the most part, a lot of what we do, probably be 80% of it will be just because we like doing it. It's not because we need it, or we can really do very well without it. But when time comes that actually we need to be able to do without it is real, then you feel good about yourself because you're capable of delivering the goods down with. This is going to be put on hold. Not because I put it on hold. It's because the immediate reality is already compatible with what it needs to do. And, yeah, why not? Now and then we receive a refund, It's nice. It's nice to receive a refund. You cancel one of your car insurance, and you switch to another, and then you have a credit of 3 weeks. They send you a check for $110. Thank you. Feels good. You go to DMV and you switch plates and this, that. You have a credit of $170, and they say, would you like us to send you a check, or would you like to forward it to future, whatever, as a credit, whatever. And just leave it as a credit. It's a good feeling. You have credit somewhere where you're used to do nothing but making payment and paying yourself. So that reality is fermenting and boiling very lightly and considerately and mindfully, um, is uh, uh, at the real core of it. the base that will serve you when you're reaching, and you are, and approaching some heavy duty, big league experiences. Ideas are much greater, much, has more impact, and that they are a more significant and more, just as much as you have so much to gain, you have so much to lose. So, but you don't think just because you switch them into one level up that you need to adjust any of what you already achieved. The skeleton of reasoning, the skeleton of functioning efficiently and properly and appropriately. That will serve you right away. Maybe you will erect an extra one parallel to it. Maybe you add whatever it is that you want to add by way of learning the lessons. Maybe your structure, your skeleton that you brought into the equation can withstand the additional information and storage of experiences and whatnot, just like a filing capacity. So it's still, nevertheless, a whole long journey of waiting, if you can wait and not make a big deal out of it and keep a straight face through the process, you will become so powerful nobody would even dare getting near you. Not because you're threatening, not because you're unpleasant, it's because just radiating power. And there are some people like this. I know some people that when I spend time with them, usually it's 10, 15, 20 minutes, because you can't handle that too intense, rightfully, for the right reasons. Sweet as can be, smart as can be, experienced as can be, and so much more. You know what I mean? So, yeah, you say to yourself, I think I'm in a good place. And you know in the back of your mind that you have thousands of paintings you have created already, and you have about 2 dozen that you're working on now because it's a joint idea and shared idea, and you need to be as witty and as funny and as light and as serious and as considerate and as sophisticated and as complex as can be. And uh, now it's time to create. Even though you create every day, it's good to hear yourself say, now it's time to create. I'm going to have a show next Saturday, the 24th of August at Ashwa Hall. And I got about 50 pieces. This is just a description, I'm not trying to show off anything. A little over 50 pieces that range between 2x3s and 4x5s. Somewhat large scale, new style. Just went through an inner journey of creating a new innocence and engaging into that process and journey of um, reinvigorating, no, invigorating, infesting the fields of innocence with an invigorating desire to experiment and bringing into the equation your natural ability to look at color and composition, definitely placement, definitely courage, bravery. You've been there, you've done that, and that means you are going to be in it just now, and you're definitely going to be able to pull through. 50 pieces where I literally almost 99.9% of the time I was squinting. I wasn't even looking or not looking, closing eyes, closing wide, opening wide, whatever. I squinting through the process. That kept me a little just far away enough not to be too critical of my of what it is that I'm doing, what it is that I'm experiencing, what it is that I'm feeling, and what it is that it means for me, what kind of work, what kind of investment of attention it means on my behalf. Really worried about that a lot because I wanted to do it right. I don't want to preach about how you distance yourself away from wasting time because you didn't do anything in a timely fashion and thought about it ahead of time and prevented a lot of unnecessary hassle. You don't want to be the one that's been accused of that while you're actually preaching on how to uh, um, spare yourself from experiencing that. So, free entry, um, encouragement in place, ready to engage anytime that feels good for you. Always welcoming gestures, always reminders, always indication of love. And you feel good about yourself. You feel safe. You feel anchored. You feel like the tomorrow is somewhat guaranteed for you to work. You feel like you can plan. You can have plans in place. Whereas just not too long ago, you couldn't even conceive of being able to plan something. That means you had to put things on hold in order to serve you 2 or 3 or 4 days from now. And when you start the process, and it just that never worked for you, and suddenly it's just working for you all around, all together, suddenly, not suddenly, but it's a fact on the surface. And because you know how to adapt, even though it happened 3, 4, 5 days ago, it feels like it's always been there, never left. Always is, always was, always is. And that's a good place to be in. And that's a good feeling to feel. That's a good thought to experience. And if you wonder where your talent comes from, in inventing, putting things together, creating something out of nothing comes from, then you have the answer. It's because in place there's a mechanism that knows better about its own good and its own benefits, and knows better than to wander astray and being finding out later that you just like wasted your time and didn't maybe didn't want to accept the clarity of the writings in front of you, never paid attention, even if it, when I say never, I mean 3 seconds, and suddenly all hell breaks loose. And in that sense I was, admiring my ability to achieve and sustain simplicity, literally like that. And um, and okay, so yeah, I want to do this. Okay, and I want to do this. That's wonderful. I think that's actually working pretty well. I can't believe it. Very good. That makes me happy. Oh, yes, so much stuff. Unbelievable. So anyway, um, so we're going to be here tomorrow as much as we were here yesterday and as much as we were here this morning. August 16th, year 2024, here with the Hello Hello Show. And my name is Haim Mizrahi. Keep up the good spirits. We love you. We appreciate what you're doing. Be safe. The end of the season right around the corner. August 24th at Ashwa Hall. You're all welcome. 4 to 7, 4 to 8. I'll be there with new work.